architect of the Constitution of India, was one of the principal thinkers of modern and progressive India. A visionary who was much ahead of his times. He envisioned a nation built on the principles of justice, equality and liberty. An India in which all sections of the society were empowered socially, economically and politically. An India in which every citizen believes and is part of the growth journey. An inclusive society that takes together every section. A nation where a holistic and inclusive approach drives progress. As we accelerate our efforts towards Vision 2047, we realize that in many ways, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's ideals resonate deeply with our Viksit Bharat goals. As a mark of remembrance and tribute to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, we reflect on and revisit some of his timeless thoughts and how they guide us in achieving our aspirations for an equitable, empowered and developed future. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome on the show two distinguished guests. With me in the studio is Colonel Akash Patil, Director, Dr. Ambedkar International Center. Thank you, Colonel Patil. Welcome to SANSAD TV. Joining us virtually is Professor Nupur Tiwari, Chair, Professor of Dr. Ambedkar Chair in Social Justice of Indian Institute of Public Administration. Professor Tiwari, glad to have you with us on this broadcast as well. In fact, let me begin the program with your thoughts. How do you see Dr. Ambedkar's ideals resonating with the contemporary aspirations of India as we march towards Viksit Bharat 2047?
I'm so happy to be, sitting in this platform and sharing my views about one of the most important visionaries of this country, Babasaheb Ambedkar. Fondly he is called that, Bhim Ambedkar. And all his visions, absolutely most essential for making India Viksit Bharat Vision, that is 2047. Many of the things which he said about, this is 100% quality and good education, access to high quality and affordable health care, and also very recently we are talking about skill development and meaningful employment, women education and also women empowerment. In fact, he was the first feminist of this country who could speak so much and volumes about women emancipation and also their economic empowerment. And he was the person who actually resigned as a law minister. Babasaheb resigned as a law minister because the Hindu Code Bill was not accepted in totality as he wanted.
Right.
So that is something which is at this time when he wanted women to be the owner of the property, right to property. That was so much ahead of its time. And what we are talking about, that is making the country at that platform, that is Viksit Bharat, is exactly we are replicating the views and the ideals and the philosophy of Babasaheb. So it's very, very relevant, especially in terms of when we talk of zero poverty and other marginalized section to be brought into the mainstream.
Absolutely. So there are so many of his ideas that are today guiding us in achieving our contemporary aspirations. Colonel Patil, what is your perspective on Dr. Ambedkar's far-sighted views, in a way now becoming the guiding light for us as we march towards Viksit Bharat goals, and especially in context of the four pillars Professor Tiwari spoke about, and the four pillars of Viksit Bharat being Yuva, Garib, Kisan and Mahila. And time and again, we've seen how the government has, whenever spoken of a roadmap towards a Viksit Bharat, these are four prominent pillars. And something that Dr. Ambedkar had spoken about, the need to incorporate their role, the need to make them the key drivers of a developed India.
Absolutely. When we think of Dr. Ambedkar as a multifaceted personality, so what you said about Yuva, Garib, Mahila, all the ideas given by Dr. Ambedkar, they are still relevant. Now, when we are talking about Viksit Bharat, we have got almost 25 years now. Till 2047, we have to achieve that. That is the government's vision. One needs to understand why this period is so important. This period is important because we have reached up to that stage where we can actually achieve our aim. Whenever we want to achieve aim, there is a set target. Now, these Yuva, Mahila, Dr. Ambedkar had already thought about them. He was the one who gave us legal powers. Now, we are the nation who got, the women got voting rights because of him on the very first day of our independence. So, something which he had thought, the things are happening now because of the initiatives of the government, and we are at the right stage. We have got the demographic dividend. Now, it is upon us and upon the youth to follow the footsteps and take efforts towards reaching this goal. About Mahila, it has been already said, all the initiatives which he had, we are bearing the fruits now. The time is now for all these four elements which you said, the four pillars, to perform and to achieve the aim towards Viksit Bharat.
If you could elaborate a little for our young viewers, it's been nearly 8 decades of our independence, but because of the policies and the approaches that he spoke about, why does Dr. Ambedkar continue to be one of the biggest icons of the youth? What did he say about the youth, which
Absolutely.
is helping us take India to where we want it to be?
Absolutely. Now on 14th, as we celebrate the 135th anniversary of Babasaheb, and still why he is so relevant. Now you see the amount of hard work which he had taken to complete his education. In spite of facing so much discrimination in his youth days, during his school times, he has achieved something which is remarkable, a PhD from most renowned universities from outside, getting himself qualified and coming back. Not only coming back, again he faced the discrimination, but he did not give up. What I want to convey, the message for the youth is very loud and clear. We need to focus our efforts towards development of this nation. Yes, you may go outside, get yourself educated, but then what comes is nation first. You have to come back and contribute in our growth. And that is happening. As we see, the percentage of students is marginally, they are focusing on our own development rather than just going outside and taking a job. Same about women, same about all the schemes which government is giving now. Now, how does technology, if you talk about technology, Dr. Ambedkar was the one who said that we should get out of these superstitions when the society has to be developed as such, as a whole of the society. He said that get educated. Education is the most powerful weapon. Now, that is what our youth and our society has to follow as on date, again to follow. That is why he is more relevant.
Okay.
That I feel so.
Another aspect, Professor Tiwari, which I would like your views on, is education. If you could, talk to us and our viewers about the role of education in Babasaheb's vision for an empowered and developed nation, and how does the modern push now for a equitable and quality education align with Babasaheb's views?
Yeah, absolutely. A firm believer in education as a tool for liberalization. Dr. Ambedkar himself pursued higher studies at very prestigious institutes like Columbia University and London School of Economics, despite very severe, adverse situation. And he emphasized on the education as a means of self and societal upliftment, which is that if you are educated, nothing can stop you. And he was a true example of that. So this emancipation, liberalization, equality, all these things which he has talked about, and one mean that he said was on the basis of education. And majorly you will see that he always used to bring women forth to come, in front, and he emphasized on women education. He was also institution builders. Number of institutions were opened and educational organizations were started to give this kind of societal upliftment to women itself and of course the youth. Another very important thing which we are talking about is culturally responsive pedagogy and various other things, that every portion of it is very important, and you will be looking into all the philosophies of Babasaheb, that how he has translated these in his writings and how he has led these kind of projections at a very high pedestal, that even the marginalized section or any kind of section which is there has full right of education, and he has been taking this as the most important tool for liberalization. And majorly, if you see his Buddhist, conversion to Buddhism, and also his philosophy of social harmony and making his ideas so relevant for all those social political changes, where he has been emphasizing on education as a very important tool of making this severe changes and eradicating this very severe discrimination which exists in the society.
Professor, since you spoke about discrimination, and this is something that globally we're also seeing discrimination on the basis of gender. This was another area wherein Babasaheb had very clear views, far-sighted views as far as incorporating the role of women in economic progress was concerned, and women empowerment, reducing gender equality in more ways than one. How do you see his views now guiding us as we open up our sectors, critical sectors for participation of women workforce, women in leadership? How do you see his views now guiding us towards a more inclusive world, more inclusive society for women?
As a chairman of the drafting committee of the Indian Constitution, Babasaheb ensured that it becomes a transformative and also a very progressive document, where he advocated equality, justice, and fraternity. Now, the Constitution granted universal adult suffrage, giving women equal right to vote at a time, at a time which, unlike other democracies like US, UK, and France, didn't give it. So even in the drafting committee and while making the constitution, he ensured that women, they have the equal right. But once you even go ahead, all those platforms which are open for women, or for that matter even other marginalized sections, so this important area which he promoted was very important. And he majorly, if you see that women-led development, which we talk about now, and that has become the saga of all the development policy, that we don't have to impose our development paradigm on the women. Rather, women as a leader will decide and design their own progressive way of policy or scheme, whatever, that you do that. And once women get into the leadership role, and once they are into the decision making part, they can do a lot about women specific goods. So this whole concept, if you read into in the writings of Babasaheb, this women-led development in a way was already there, and which he had emphasized. So right from starting, not just as that he was a feminist, he advocated for various other things. You will see that even maternity leave, who could ever think of such things at a time when there was no question of equality? He was the person that he first actually brought this even in labor laws, gender equality and maternity leave. So these were they were not just the teaching. He got all these things encoded in all the laws and rules that were made in the country for that. So,
absolutely. These are discussions in current discourse, but it was his pioneering vision, especially on giving opportunities to women, empowering them at various levels, and increasing their role in nation building, something that we are working towards now, but it's something that Babasaheb had spoken about, written about much earlier. These were three pillars that we spoke about, Colonel Patil: women, youth, the Garib. But what about the farmers? What were Dr. Ambedkar's views on enhancing agricultural efficiency, empowering the farmers, and taking them along India's growth journey? Because no matter what, India is primarily an agrarian economy, and agriculture will be the biggest sector driving growth.
If we study Dr. Ambedkar's vision on the land reforms, on the labor rights, whatever he has written about the progress of the farmer community as such, he always was of the thought that everybody should be having equal opportunities. And now if we connect it with our Viksit Bharat vision, when we are saying that we should be developed with the focus on strong economy, and when our economy is agriculture based, we need innovation in that. Now these are all the things, role of the youth, innovation, science and technology. So if we see Dr. Ambedkar had this vision in his times, which is what present day we are following. That is how we have to understand that now that somebody has given us the foothold, now is the time to go ahead with the vision and work in that direction.
You know, Baba Saheb very interestingly also said that in a country like India, and he dreamt of an India where law should be the only factor uniting the country and providing equal opportunities to each and every citizen. Do you, how do you see us moving towards making that vision of Baba Saheb a reality?
Absolutely. Dr. Ambedkar was the proponent of political democracy, but with the vision and with the caveat that we have social democracy. Laws, according to him, if we study his writings, they were just to ensure that we have, and in fact he was a great critic of if the things are not working, that means somewhere we are not going ahead. Now if we connect whatever his vision was with today's things which are happening, yes, laws, rules, regulations, they are meant for as an enabler, as a facilitator, and not as obstacles. When we talk about Viksit Bharat, we have the government has taken so many steps to do ease of business. There are many flagship schemes for the youth. Focus is on entrepreneurship. There are many government schemes which are coming. Now, if we again connect the vision which he had and the steps which our government is taking, the affirmative action which government has done for not only marginalized but for everybody, there we can see, yes, he had a vision for a political and social democratic country like Bharat, and he always kept nation ahead, nation first. In all his, if we study his writings, his speeches, he comes out very clearly. In spite of all the differences with anyone, he always gave priority to the nation. When we are talking about our economy, are we now at 5th number? We are trying to go to 3rd. We may achieve all the progress till 47. But when we have the backup, when we have all the dividends, we have to understand his vision, follow it and go towards it.
Another dimension, Professor Tiwari, that I would like the discussion to go towards is not just an inclusive and holistic approach to development, but also a sustainable approach to development, and something that India has been striving towards. How do you see Baba Saheb's ideals reconciling with India's efforts towards not just an inclusive and equitable development, but a sustainable development?
There are many things which cannot be answered in a straight manner, I would say, but many of his economic visions and also his vision towards the infrastructure development. For instance, economic visionary in terms of setting up institutions like Reserve Bank of India and Central Water Management Authority, majorly, contributing to India's economic and also infrastructural development. So these were some of the things which are so sustainable that we are still trying to, get the best things out of these economic visions which he had, and nobody could have ever thought of these institutions like RBI and various other things. And if you get into the infrastructure vision, he not only promoted large-scale infrastructure projects such as Damodar Valley and projects in Hirakud Dam and various other river projects, ensuring sustainable resource management, and also ensuring that the nation develops in a very sustainable manner. So conceptualizing the national power grid system also demonstrate very foresight in energy security and in industrial growth. So these things could be in some way connected to your question that he was also a visionary with terms of sustainable development.
Certainly. Colonel Patil, in the broader view of how Dr. Ambedkar envisioned India and its growth and empowering various sections, empowering local bodies was also one aspect. How do you see that aspect of decentralization having happened at various levels of governance, and have we in more ways than one been able to do justice to what Baba Saheb spoke about? Because through decentralization, through empowering the local bodies and local communities, you are strengthening governance at different levels, putting power into the hands of people who will ultimately feel part of India's growth story.
Absolutely. Babasaheb always, he talked about education as the weapon, and we all know his famous quote, get educated, organize and agitate. That was for a mission, for the development of the society. He triggered those points for the common masses at the grassroots levels where everybody believed in him. Same is the case what is happening today. When we are talking about the overall development, unless the local bodies at the grassroots levels, right from the panchayat to village level to block, district level, till the time this message is understood by all the stakeholders at these particular places and they understand the vision of this great man as well as our government, what the steps are being taken, if it is the flow of the technology, use of digital infrastructure, what we are talking about these days, scientific temperament, economic development. So all these things from the grassroots levels, if they are getting connected, if people are understanding through education, through technology, then the path becomes very clear to achieve our aim. So his vision of hitting at the grassroots, it is still very relevant, because now we know that our demographic dividend, what we talk about, the median age of our country is as on date is 29. That is the biggest development, that is the biggest advantage which we have.
Absolutely.
So these youth people at the grassroots level, if they go, then certainly they would contribute to the overall aim.
So capitalizing on India's strengths over the years, we've been able to make efforts, we've seen progress towards reaching or realizing the dreams of Babasaheb. But to fully realize and make India into what Dr. Ambedkar envisioned, into a more developed and prosperous country, India as a global power, what according to you are some of the areas in which we still need to focus on and perhaps pay particular attention?
As per me, the major focus has to be on skilling of the this youth dividend which we have.
Yes.
When we say 29 is the age, making all the facilities available in-house, and in-house means not in the specific urban areas but at the grassroots levels. That if we focus on the educational infrastructure, we are certainly developing upon the communication infrastructure wise. Our inland waterways are developing, our means of communications are developing, the places are getting closer. The road transport has marginally, substantially it has improved. But the youth, till date, our education system has been overhauled. If we see completely, students, they are getting the best quality material as on date. So if the infrastructure in terms of education, if we focus on that, that according to me is one sector where we need to focus.
Okay. Professor Tiwari, I'll take one last comment from you about how we need to accelerate. There is no doubt tremendous progress has been made in particularly all areas of growth that we are talking about. But the fact is, to reach our goal, the Viksit Bharat goals 2047, perhaps aligning with a lot of the ideals of Babasaheb, we need to accelerate and put in more efforts to realize that vision. What are your suggestions?
I would say all the things that we mentioned here, there's one thing which is very important, that is global relevance of teachings of Babasaheb. Like, teachings on labor law, gender equality and use of constitutional means to address conflict have universally accepted, and there is a universal application also. His Buddhist philosophy and emphasis on social harmony, which is making his ideals so relevant to addressing socio-political challenges that we are going through. So all the things that we said about educational empowerment, upliftment, infrastructure vision, economic vision or visionary, advocating women right, and various others like drafting constitution, equality, justice, fraternity, these things, if social reforms are also included in a way that Babasaheb wanted it, and which has been there, of course, it is reflected in the philosophies and also the schemes of the government. But majorly much emphasis has to be given on these visionaries, these mission mode way, if these things are taken into shaping the Viksit Bharat at 2047, then Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's vision and legacy would be given full justice for the shaping of Viksit Bharat and
Sure.
also make India fully progress.
Sure. Through this discussion, we've tried to connect Babasaheb's vision with our contemporary aspirations and how we are moving forward towards realizing that one common goal of a developed future for India. So, you see the unparalleled legacy of Babasaheb Ambedkar. And thank you to you viewers for your time as well.
हमारे चैनल लाइक,
शेयर,
सब्सक्राइब
देखना
मत भूलिएगा।
जय भीम,
जय भारत,
जय संविधान,
नमो बुद्धाय।
धन्यवाद।
चैनल आर्थिक समस्या से गुजर रहा है। अगर आप बहुजन समाज में बाबा साहेब अम्बेडकर और तथागत बुद्ध की विचारधारा को अधिक से अधिक लोगों तक पहुंचाना चाहते हैं तो हमें आर्थिक सहयोग प्रदान करें, ताकि हम अपने चैनल के माध्यम से देश विदेश में समता, बंधुता, एकता और संवैधानिक अधिकारों को ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों तक पहुंचा सकें। आप अपनी सहायता राशि नीचे लिखे खाते में जमा करा सकते हैं। खाता धारक गौतम रत्ना, खाता संख्या 3169576865 IFSC कोड SBIN 0060336, बैंक भारतीय स्टेट बैंक। आप हमारे बैंक खाते का विवरण स्क्रीन पर भी देख सकते हैं।
जय भीम, जय भीम। मैं गौतम रत्ना गौतम फिल्म्स प्रोडक्शन में आपका स्वागत करता हूं। आप हमारे प्रोडक्शन हाउस के अंदर अपना कैरियर बना सकते हैं एज ए फिल्म डायरेक्टर, एज ए प्रोड्यूसर एंड एक्टर एंड एक्ट्रेस एंड एडिटर एंड सिनेमाटोग्राफर ऑल्सो। अगर आपको फिल्म से रिलेटेड कुछ भी प्रोजेक्ट आपको बनवाना है तो हमारे पास में पूरा सेटअप है, जिसमें फिल्म कैमरा है, शूटिंग लाइट्स है और एडिटिंग है। सारा A to Z एक ही जगह पर आपको हमारे यहाँ पर मिल जाएगा। तो दोस्तों, आप हमें कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं हमारे नंबर्स पर 9810085714।